benefit of the doubt until 5 p.m. for him to arrive in Parliament, Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
In an SMS to the committee's legal advisor, Fatima Ibrahim, Collins Letsoalo appealed to her to stop harassing him and to desist from creating the impression that he's gone into hiding. The committee has set aside 2 days to hear his testimony following 7 weeks of evidence by former and current employees related to the management of the Road Accident Fund's financial affairs under Letsoalo's tenure, which ended in August. Today's SCOPA chairperson Zongezo Zibi says it can't be presumed that Letsoalo has received the first summons at a place of residence, nor that he's seen the second one posted to Parliament's digital platforms.
When there was an attempt to serve it, he wasn't there. We can't therefore make the assumption here that it's his fault that he wasn't there. He's received the summons and then, you know what I mean? So that is why we have to be here in order to wait for him nonetheless.
The DA's Patrick Atkinson and Action SA's Alan Beasley say if he does not pitch later today, the committee must lay a criminal complaint against him. The meeting has adjourned for now. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Let's stay with parliamentary matters. The ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption has resumed proceedings, but today it's sitting at the Hoshi Mampuru maximum security prison. The committee moved its business to Tshwane to be able to get oral evidence from attempted murder accused Vusimuzi Matlala. Matlala will be appearing before the MPs tomorrow. First in the hot seat today is Police Chief Financial Officer Buleng Dimbane. Babalondenze has more.
The ad hoc committee is scheduled to hear evidence from key witnesses in Gauteng this week. The first Gauteng witness is SAP's Chief Financial Officer, Lieutenant General Buleng Dimbane, who will cover issues around the political killings task team and related irregular expenditure. Vusimuzi Matlala, who is currently awaiting trial at Hosi Mampuru for an unrelated matter, will give evidence on Wednesday as part of the proceedings before the committee moves back to Parliament next week. Matlala, one of the main characters implicated in police corruption and interference, is expected to give explosive evidence tomorrow around the alleged payments and bribes he made to politicians like former Minister Bheki Cele and suspended Minister Senzo Mchunu. Parliament said the decision to move to Pretoria follows a resolution by the committee and is intended to ensure the safety and security of all parties. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News.
Let's move to the courts now, where the mother of rapper Keenan Forbes has poured her heart out to prosecutors who are working on his son and his friend celebrity chef Dibela Motswane's murder case. Lynn Forbes attended court proceedings for the first time today since arrests were made in the matter. Brothers Siyabonga and Malusi Ndimande, implicated in that case, made their second appearance since they were extradited from Eswatini. They joined their co-accused this morning in the Durban Magistrates Court. Lynn Forbes has praised senior prosecutors and their team for their dedication to the case.
And I really appreciate it. I can only imagine all the hours that must go into all of this. And I don't envy any of you. But thank you. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
The case against the two suspects linked to this murder case has been postponed to January of next year. To this now, Gauteng police say they made 13 arrests in connection to transgressions during the G20 Leaders Summit. These include 2 members from Operation Dudula who were handcuffed for trespassing at the Nasrec Expo Centre in Johannesburg. 4 men were also arrested for robbing Vietnamese delegates of their phones as well as other belongings in Sandton. Despite these incidents, the Gauteng government says the summit was a resounding success. Speaking at a post-G20 media briefing in Joburg, Provincial Police Commissioner Tomim Tombeni says roadblocks and other operations also resulted in the capture of suspects who were wanted in other crimes.
Before the actual main event, the Leaders Summit started, we have put a plan for safer city across the province for the 5 districts, of which we had to ensure that there are operational activities week in, week out in order to mitigate whatever crimes across the province.
And the World Food Programme has warned that instability in northern Nigeria is pushing hunger to levels never seen before. It says resurgent attacks by jihadists have left thousands of people facing famine-like conditions. Nearly 35 million people in northern Nigeria are projected to face severe insecurity during the 2026 lean season. The conflict has killed more than 40,000 people and displaced around 2 million others in the northeast and spilled into neighboring countries. Besides Boko Haram in the northeast, Nigeria also suffers violence led by bandit gangs in the center and the northwest. Just last week alone, the country experienced 3 mass kidnappings by the bandits. Gold is trading at $4,125.16 an ounce. The rand is at 17.28 to the dollar, 22.69 to the pound, 19.94 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $63.37 a barrel.
In the traffic leaving the Joburg CBD, you can expect heavy delays. This is on Main Reef Road between Anderson and the M2. Also, slow-moving traffic in the Irene area. This is approaching the intersection of Nomay Pierce Drive and Main Road. And then in the Mother City, we have those roadworks slowing down traffic on the R300 northbound before Hindle Road.
It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with scattered showers and thundershowers in some parts. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 21 degrees, while Cape Town is fine with a moderate southeasterly wind at a high of 37 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour: former Road Accident Fund Chief Executive Officer Collins Letsoalo has failed to show up in Parliament again.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, former Road Accident Fund boss Collins Letsoalo is a no-show at the Scopa inquiry again. He must now face criminal charges. The police inquiry moves to the Kgosi Mampuru prison in Pretoria. AKA's mother praises prosecutors. The former JMPD head David Tembe has died, and Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi reflects on the G20. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Great to be with you today. If you want a cricket update, South Africa has declared, and they've set India a target of like 550 runs. That's massive. It's a huge total that hasn't been reached before. So, we just picked up another wicket. There we go. 21 for 2. Harmer, it looks like, has picked up that wicket. So, 8 wickets in hand for India. They're chasing down a target of 549. I think we're going to win the series in India. That is massive for the Proteas. So 21 for 2. Did you hear that story in the EWN bulletin? The rapper Kenan, aka Forbes, his mother has been very emotional in court, praising prosecutors, thanking them for the work that they have been doing, and that is because the brothers Siyabonga and Malusi and Demande, who are implicated in this case, were extradited from Eswatini last week and have appeared in court. Are you confident we'll see a resolution in that matter? You know, so often there's this pessimism about the NPA. Do you feel that AKA case will actually reach a resolution, and will we know who ordered that hit on AKA and on Tabelo Tibbs Motswane? What are your thoughts on that? Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702 072 567 1567. But let's go to that lead story now in Eyewitness News. The former Road Accident Fund CEO Collins Letsoalo. So there was supposed to be the showdown today, right? He has received summons. The summons was attempted to be served on him. He wasn't at his properties. He has apparently written the 6-page letter that was sent to Scopa Chair Songezo Zibi, saying that they must cease and desist from unlawful oversight inquiry into the RAF. It's just bizarre, the fact that he has not rocked up again. And didn't he say that he wanted to give his side of the story? Well, Lindsay Dentlinger, EWN parliamentary reporter, joining us now. Lindsay, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. So tell us, Collins Letsoalo was due to appear there today, or was summoned to appear there today, but he hasn't.
Yes, Mandy, he was actually originally scheduled to appear last week already, and the Standing Committee on Public Accounts saying because they've had trouble actually physically handing him the summons at the addresses that they believe to be linked to him, they were pushing it out by another week. But Parliament's legal advisor, Fatima Ibrahim, says they think it's pretty much well known to Collins Letsoalo himself that he's expected to appear in Parliament. And incidentally, the second lawyer's letter, which Parliament says they haven't received because of their own IT restrictions, but which is already in the public domain, follows on from an earlier letter in which he pretty much already gave the indication that he was never going to appear before this inquiry. He doesn't believe that they are lawfully mandated to investigate more than just the financial statements. And I think it was in that previous letter where he said he would appear before the Transport Committee, which is the portfolio under which the Road Accident Fund resides, if he really was expected to appear in Parliament, but he doesn't believe that this committee is properly constituted. But Parliament saying that they've gone through all the efforts that they possibly can to have him appear before them, to give him the benefit of the doubt to come. And as you've referenced there, an SMS also sent to Parliament's legal advisor. She once again sent him a text message to check whether he was going to come, and he says that Parliament is harassing him and they should leave him alone. So Parliament is giving him the benefits of the doubt. They've adjourned this inquiry or the meeting for now. They were going to deal with Mr. Letsoalo's testimony in two sessions, one being this morning and then one in the evening. And so they're giving him the benefit of the doubt. They're hanging around the parliamentary precinct, saying they will wait to see if he pitches by, say, 5 o'clock this evening, Mandy.
Amazing. So they're just hanging around hoping that he comes.
Well, as I said, they've set the 2 days aside. They don't want it to be said that, Collins Letsoalo perhaps says, well, you didn't really think I was going to come anyway, and you proceeded with other business, or you heard testimony from other witnesses. So these are the 2 days that they are setting aside. Should he not appear either today or tomorrow, they will then proceed later in the week on Thursday with former board members that they've identified to appear. But for now, giving him the benefits of the doubt. And here's the chairperson of the committee, Zongezo Zibi, explaining why they are hanging around for the day, waiting to see if he physically appears in Parliament or not.
When there was an attempt to serve it, he wasn't there. We can't therefore make the assumption here that it's his fault that he wasn't there. He's received the summons, and then, you know what I mean? So that is why we have to be here in order to wait for him nonetheless. But so we never got the content of the letter, unfortunately.
Zongezo Zibi, the chairperson of Scopa, speaking there. Thank you to Lindsay Dentlinger, EWN parliamentary reporter, who's also, I imagine, going to stick around and wait to see if Collins Letsoalo does actually rock up today. He says Parliament is harassing him. I wonder, does he have the legal right to decide which inquiry or which committee should be listening to this inquiry? I don't imagine that he does. Well, Action SA is calling for the immediate criminal prosecution of Letsoalo following his blatant refusal to comply with a lawful parliamentary summons issued by Scopa. Alan Beasley is an Action SA MP, also member of Scopa. Alan, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. What do you make of this non-appearance yet again by Collins Letsoalo?
Yeah, I think it's very disappointing on a couple of sense. I think, first of all, from a parliamentary point of sight, parliamentary is meant to have an oversight of all these state entities and public funding. So it's hugely concerning, and we've just got to be careful that the precedent doesn't get set going forward. If somebody gets summoned to attend Parliament, they must, and if they don't attend, then they're in breach in terms of the Privilege Act, and then they must face the consequences. But also very disappointing for South Africans. Many South Africans have been hugely impacted by the non-performance of the Road Accident Fund, as well as staff who've been bullied and intimidated at the Road Accident Fund. And all South Africans, all your listeners, we put in our fuels. Even if we don't put in money in the fuels, the cost of food includes R2 a litre that goes to the Road Accident Fund. And he, as a CEO of the Road Accident Fund, needs to come in and give account to where that money's disappeared to under his watch.
Does he have a legal standing or a right to be able to say to Scopa, no, you're not the correct committee to be handling this inquiry, it should be the Transport Committee? Does he have that right?
No, not at all, because I mean it's part of Scopa. Scopa is a standing committee on public accounts. But before the summons was issued, the legal representatives of the Speaker, the Committee on Transport and of Scopa sat and they identified Scopa was the correct vehicle. So the Speaker is in concurrence. Everybody is in concurrence. The only one who is not in concurrence is Mr. Letsoalo. Otherwise, everybody else agrees that Scopa has got the legal mandate to call him to come in account.
Action SA is calling on the Speaker to refer his non-compliance for prosecution under the Powers and Privileges Act. How does this work? What is the process for him to actually be criminally charged?
Well, in terms of the act which you just talked about, talks about a criminal offence. You're subject to a fine and an imprisonment of up to 12 months. And I think your listeners, I've only been in Parliament for the 7th administration, only for a couple of years in politics. And I think one of the big concerns is that Parliament is all talk and no action. We've had so many commissions, so many inquiries. Parliament says all these things, but nothing happens, And it's time for people who are outside the law to be put in orange overalls. And as such, if he has avoided the law, avoided coming to Parliament, committed a crime, he must be put in orange overalls, because Parliament can't just be an expensive talk shop. There needs to be action and accountability, because otherwise 7th Parliament, 8th Parliament, 9th Parliament, nothing's going to change. There needs to be accountability.
Alan, thank you very much for your time. Alan Beasley, Action SA Member of Parliament, a member of Scopa, speaking to us there. What do you think should happen here? I agree that there needs to be some kind of accountability. You can't have a member of the public just ignoring summons, determining who should be in charge of this inquiry. Everybody else has appeared. If he wants to give his side of the story, if he wants to present, then he should present. I don't understand why he's not doing that and letting the Standing Committee on Public Accounts determine for itself. He feels the Transport Committee should be the one that looks into the Road Accident Fund. And we know how the Road Accident Fund has been plundered over the years. And as Alan Beasley explains there, it affects you and me. We pay at the pumps. Every time you fill up your car, you're paying a portion of that goes to the Road Accident Fund, which was so terribly mismanaged. So let's hope that there is some progress on that and we actually hear from Collins Letsoalo.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You've heard the songs, but until you've seen it live, you haven't experienced the magic of Cats. Coming to Monte Casino from 17 January until 22 February, it's the memory shared by millions. Book now at Web Tickets. Brought to you by Peter Turin and GWB Entertainment.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a nervous but excited first-time driver waiting for the perfect gap to switch lanes. I can do this. The pressure. The Outsurance pointsman knows it's not just a car in traffic. It's a sense of freedom and independence on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 and the Discount Foundation are shining the spotlight on the health matters you want to know more about. Here's what we explored this month.
What I've experienced working with young people is the massive lack of father figures is actually playing out in a specific way.
So where do we start?
The younger you can get these kids, the more easy and susceptible they are. Also on the other side, the sports teams, there's always been this culture of initiation. If we have to look back in Molliton, with those boys. So it's almost like sick masculinity that just keeps on repeating itself. Hence, the boys are actually doing what they're doing. If we can get that out of teams, then we can actually nip it in the bud.
In Conversation on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by the Discount Foundation, caring for the community on 702.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:20 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. Before we get into the ad hoc inquiry, which is sitting at the Kgosi Mampuru prison in Pretoria now, and the Madlanga inquiry, let's first tell you about news that broke earlier today. The former head of the Joburg Metro Police Department, David Tembe, has passed away. Oren Singh, EWN reporter, in studio with us. Very sad news. Oren, what do we know about David Tembe's passing?
Sad, Mandy, indeed, and I think also sad from the circumstances surrounding his death. From what we understand from our sources, he may have likely passed away on Friday. He had called in sick at work. He was a special advisor to the MMC for Public Safety, Mqini Chwaku, and he had been working in that role since about 2023. And he called in sick, and his domestic worker was at home with him. Upon leaving on the day, he locked up. After she left, he was wearing a specific item of clothing that she spoke to investigators about, and it was that of a robe. And when she went to work yesterday, she couldn't get in. The house was locked, and emergency services were subsequently alerted. They end up breaking down the door, and they found him with the keys in his hand and this robe still on. So he was dressed in the same attire that he had on Friday after calling in sick to work. So very unfortunate. I feel for the families and condolences to them because they only found out this morning. His body yesterday was taken to a mortuary, and the families were only notified this morning about his passing. But obviously the former JMPD head, he was the last JMPD head that was actually permanent. Since him leaving in 2020, I think, we haven't had a permanent JMPD head. They've all been acting.
Astonishing.
So he did good work. You know, a lot of the people in the industry have praised him as someone that was solid, someone that did a lot of good work for JMPD. And he was there during the time of Action SA when they were governing the city.
I interviewed him many times, and all of my encounters with him, he was very well regarded, a very, very gracious man. So very sad to hear that.
Yes, definitely.
Right, let's go to the Madlanga inquiry because you're watching that for us as well. The head of the Hawks in Gauteng, Major General Ibrahim Kadwa, has just been wrapping up his testimony. Take us through what he's been saying.
I think a lot of what the testimony we heard today, we heard from three officials within Gauteng, within the Hawks today, and it's all got to do with that raid on the home of Katiso Katie Molefe on December 6th last year. General Kadwa was the last of the three to testify this afternoon. Just a short while ago, he concluded his testimony. And I think really pertinent points raised by him regarding that raid. I think throughout the Madlanga Commission, what we've heard from Dumisani Kumalo and Nhlanhla Mkonazi and the likes is that there was direct interference from the Hawks regarding that search and seizure operation and the arrest of Katiso Molefe. But General Kadwa coming out to say, we did not interfere at all. For us, he had received an instruction from the former head of DPCI, General Libya. And Libya had instructed him to go and verify whether that was a legitimate police operation, as he had received information that there were people impersonating the Hawks during that raid. And General Kadwa says he simply instructed his office to go and verify. And in no way does he believe that is interference in a police operation. Once his officers arrived on scene, they spent no more than 10 minutes there verifying, and they did conclude that this was a legitimate police operation, and they briefed him accordingly, and he briefed General Libya accordingly. So he doesn't feel that Hawks interfered in that investigation whatsoever.
Oren Singh wrapping up the Madlanga inquiry there. That's just finished for the time being. We were going to take you live there, but the head of the Hawks has just finished that testimony. So let's have a look now at what's happening with the ad hoc committee. That, of course, is the parallel process that's running the ad hoc committee that is being run from Parliament's side, which is now sitting in Pretoria because it's sitting at the Kgosi Mampuru prison in Pretoria, and that's because it's going to be hearing from Kat Matlala tomorrow. Sure, clear your diary for tomorrow. I think that's going to be pretty sensational. Babalo Ndenze, EWN reporter, joining us now to tell us what's happening there today. Babalo, who's on the stand and what are we hearing?
Yes, indeed, Mandy. Puleng Timpane, she's the Chief Financial Officer of the police. She's currently on the stand now giving evidence around the expenditure patterns of the police department, specifically around task teams and the political killings task teams in particular. And she's taking questions from evidence leader Lerato Zikalala, who's trying to get an idea of, these spending patterns and whether they were, normal. And she's basically telling the committee that there was nothing strange. And just to give you an idea, I think this was about 75 million over about 6 years that was spent, or the expenditure incurred by the police. And this is overtime, and this is S&T, subsistence and travel. This is food, as well as other, expenses incurred by the police. And she's justifying these, and she's telling the committee that there was nothing strange really about the expenditure for the PKTT, all those millions. And you do know, you remember from previous submissions from Mary de Haas, for example, one of her biggest gripes was the funding of the PKTT. There were issues from other witnesses about the irregular expenditure of the PKTT. So, Shadrach Sibia, for example, also raised issues about his unhappiness at the amounts of money being spent by the PKTT, and he based his justification for its disbandment on the expenditure. But now, Timpane telling the committee that these were normal, nothing really strange about the spending, and Lerato Zikalala trying to get an idea as well. She also gave a bit of background on her, on her past in the police and her current employment with the police. She started in 2007 as an internal auditor. She was later, promoted to the Free State, heading up the police's internal audit there. She's quite experienced as far as the police finances are concerned, and she's giving support to the National Commissioner, she also tells the committee, especially when it comes to issues of expenditure and finances. But she's not involved in tenders, man, because that would be Molefe Fani, who gave evidence to the committee last week, and he's the head of contract management and tenders and procurement. So she says operationally she's not involved. She just deals with, budgetary items as well as expenditure management. So that's where we are at the moment. It's been about an hour and a half or so of evidence being led by Lerato Zikalala, the evidence leader supporting Norman Arendse. Right. But the members will also get a bite and trying to get a better idea of this money, whether any money was wasted, during this process or the last 6 years of the PKTT's existence.
Babalo, briefly, all on track for tomorrow with Kat Matlala. What's the expectation there?
Yes, all on track tomorrow for Kat Matlala. Heavy security, Mandy. There's it's a very secure environment. They've cordoned off the roads entering that specific hall that we are at. There are a few OB vans from the different media houses. There are ambulances here as well. Huge police presence, as well as a DCS security presence as well. Some of them are armed. So the DCS has officially handed over this facility to Parliament, and the assistant commissioner, I beg your pardon, the area commissioner from DCS, Emmanuel Koza, says that the infrastructure has been handed over to Parliament officially, and they will take it over on Friday when they finish. It might go on until Friday. The initial plan was Wednesday, Thursday, but there is a feeling, Mandy, that this might spill over into Friday. So it might be a 3-day hearing for Kat Matlala, but it doesn't seem like the hearings will go into the 9th like they do in Parliament, because for obvious reasons we are at a prison. But it is quite a secure environment, and the DCS officials have basically ensured MPs and Parliament that it will be perfectly safe for the next 3 days. So Kat Matlala should be here tomorrow morning at the same time, 11 a.m. Mandy.
Babalo, thank you. Babalo Ndenze, EWN reporter. Clear your schedule for tomorrow. Kat Matlala on the stand there at the Kgosi Mampuru prison. Well, let's have a quick listen in now to the SAPS CFO, Lieutenant General Puleng Timpane, giving evidence.
Funding was then made, I think, in March. Let me check. Was made on the 26th of March, 2024. Is that correct? Do you have it before you?
That is correct.
So the comment that you made on that information note was essentially approved before the minister came into office.
That is correct.
And then can you then take us through essentially what you were trying to explain in that comment. You've set it out in paragraph 23 of your statement, if you want to have a look at that.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps before I even get to my comment, I wish to state that I did not give anyone permission to utilize that information note. That information note was an information note requesting funding from the project leader to the National Commissioner, and it came to my table to then confirm if funding is available. I was shocked to hear about that information note being utilized in evidence in this regard. And nobody has ever asked me about the context of that particular comments that I had made on this information note. Nobody. And it is a conversation that I had with the National Commissioner when that request for funding came to our table. The project leader requested 94 million. You will recall that this information note comes in March.
That's the Chief Financial Officer of the SAPS, Lieutenant General Puleng Dimpane, giving evidence at the at the ad hoc committee, where tomorrow you'll hear from Kat Matlala. 12:31, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Former Road Accident Fund Chief Executive Officer Collins Letsoalo has again failed to show up in Parliament today to answer to a financial maladministration probe conducted by the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. Letsoalo has been summoned twice to appear, although a court sheriff could not locate him at residential addresses which are linked to him. The latest annual report on the judiciary has revealed that South African courts are struggling to deliver reserved judgments timeously. Chief Justice Mandy Wiener has been delivering the annual judicial reports for the 2023-2024 as well as 2024-2025 financial years. The reports give data on the performance of the courts as well as the judiciary. And the case against two suspects linked to the murder of rapper Keenan Forbes and celebrity chef Tibelo Tibbs Motswane has been postponed to January next year. It comes after their lawyers requested more details from the state. Advocate Simphiwe Mlocha wants the state to provide all documentation with regards to the extradition of his clients from Eswatini. Those are the headlines this EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. We start with the day 4 update from the second test between India and South Africa, where the hosts are at the crease on 27 for the loss of 2 in their second innings, still needing 522 runs for victory. Batting is Yadav on 4 alongside Sid Hassan on 2. Earlier, Tristan Stubbs scored 94 as the Proteas declared their second innings on 260 for 5, as they set India a record victory target of 549. The World Test Championships champions lead the two-match series 1-0, and even a draw would seal their first series win in India since 2000.
That was the question I was about to ask you.
Yes, Mandy.
You just killed my vibe.
Sorry.
Did they really declare with Tristan Stubbs on 96?
Yes. I mean, at this point, let's just humiliate them some more. I'm sorry for the personal accolades that some players are going to miss out on, but let's have fun.
Let's have fun. We're going to win a series in India. Amazing.
Exactly. Over to the Premier League, where Manchester United suffered a 1-0 defeat to 10-man Everton in a game that was overshadowed by Idris Gueye's sending off. That follows a confrontation with teammate Michael Keane. Defeat for Ruben Amorim's side saw their 5-match unbeaten run come to an end, while fans booed the team off the pitch at the final whistle.
We can fight with the teammates. I know it's a violent conduct, the referee explained. I don't agree with that. I hope my players, when they lose the ball, they fight each other. Now, they cannot do it, it's a send-off. But that is a good feeling, not a bad feeling. Again, my players show in many games that we can do it. Today, we didn't. I need to help them. We are going to be better in the future. Today, we are really frustrated.
And 6 Springboks have been named in the World Rugby Men's 15's Dream Team, including World Player of the Year Malcolm Marx, Peter Steph du Toit, Oxen Chair, Thomas du Toit, Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu, and Cheslin Colby are also named in the 15. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour, if you're leaving the Joburg CBD, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the M2 westbound between the Crown Exchange and Main Reef Road. We still have those roadworks slowing down traffic. That's in the Calvin Alex area on the N3 in both directions between London Road and the Butlu interchange. While in the Mother City, look out for a stationary truck on the N1 incoming approaching the Coburg interchange. Also roadwork slowing down traffic on the R300 northbound. This is heading towards Hindle Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
As an FSCA-regulated broker, Prime XBT gives you the confidence to trade market volatility your way. Enjoy low trading fees, advanced tools across crypto futures and CFDs, and VIP discounts of up to 70% available to new traders. Take advantage of free deposits and withdrawals with crypto options and local South African payment methods. Prime XBT, empowering traders to succeed. Trade responsibly. Trading comes with risk.
Who says everyday driving can't be très chic? Rent premium with Sani 60 now. Own the stylish Citroen C3 later. Yes, that's 3 cars, 3 months, 3 chances to say ooh la la. Just book directly on sani.co.za. Call us or rent at any branch between 1 November and 31 January, and you're automatically entered into the draw. Bon voyage with Sani Sixt and win. T's and C's apply.
Team, summer is game time in Mzansi. Every tap, scan, swipe, it all adds up. And FNB is giving us big rewards. Partner deals, e-bucks, defense tips, and chances to score experiences money can't buy. But you're only in the game if you paid with FNB. So stay sharp, spend clever, and let's dominate. Get in the game with FNB. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Land Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. NCRCP 20. T's and C's, earn rules and limits apply.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Mandy, Action SA is correct. If they don't take any action on people like this Road Accident Fund CEO, who's another cadre that's filled these pockets, then nothing will happen. As it happened with Zondo, nothing will happen. This Madlanga story is another showcase. It's another soapy that you watch every day. Nothing will happen. We'll only be satisfied when we see these people in handcuffs and orange suits going to jail. Then we'll feel that the ANC is doing something. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Reg from Plumstead.
Regards to the cricket, the test match between South Africa and India, in your news report, you just said they declared with Tristan Stubbs on 96 and 97. They didn't declare. He got out, and they were waiting for him to get his 100. So once he got out, I mean, obviously the declaration was going to come.
Oh, thank you so much. I got that wrong. So thank you for correcting me. I thought it was a bit odd that we would have declared. I was watching all morning and then I missed that gap when we actually declared. So thank you for explaining that and for helping us out there. On the WhatsApp line, Mandy, Scopa has allowed the RAF to be plundered and I really doubt anything will happen about it. Just another expensive and useless parliamentary committee, as is the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Intelligence, which is an oxymoron. And then Richard says Parliament is an expensive talk shop. Who appoints these maniacs to head our institutions? Insane how these people act. Well, if you're talking about the parliamentarians, that's you and me, Richard. We appoint them by voting them into power. But when it comes to someone like Collins Letsoalo and the Road Accident Fund, well, that is a I suppose a cadre deployment in many ways as well. And we know what's happened at the Road Accident Fund. Is it another talk shop? Will it actually get to the bottom? We've got this RAF inquiry. We have the police inquiry. We have the inquiry into Andrew Chauke in Gauteng taking place. We've got the Madlanga inquiry. Lots of inquiries. We are a republic of inquiries.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
So this story of the 18 MK members that were lured to Ukraine for military training but are now fighting on the front lines is just getting wilder and wilder. So now we know that one of the Zuma daughters, Nkosazana Bonganini Zuma Ncube, has filed an affidavit at the Sandton police station requesting a formal investigation into the alleged involvement of her half-sister Zuma Sambudla in the recruitment of these men to Russia. News 24 has spoken to some of these men, and they speak about how they were enticed to go there for training to be bodyguards, and then all of a sudden, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla vanished and came back to South Africa. But now there's a Mandela involved as well, because apparently Andile Mandela and two other men were also with Zuma Sambudla in getting them to go there. Well, the Hawks are investigating. Brigadier Nomtandazo Mbambo is the Hawks spokesperson and joins us now. Brigadier, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. What is the status of the Hawks investigation into this matter?
Thank you very much, Mandy. What we can confirm is the Hawks at this stage is that, yes, we've received two dockets. So far, the one that is registered by Mrs. Zuma Ncube and the other one that was now filed by Duduzile Zuma yesterday. Both these investigations will be investigated jointly so as to ensure a coordinated and comprehensive approach in this matter. Investigation is still in an early stage, so there is nothing much to say at this stage except that we are busy taking statements from witnesses so as to get clarity on this matter, and we are also working with other government entities that are interested with international relations so as to also be able to get other investigative issues that will assist also in this investigation.
You mentioned a document from Zuma Sambudla. Is that an affidavit as part of the investigation, or what is that?
No, a docket. She also opened a docket.
She also opened
another individual.
So tell us about that docket that she opened.
Unfortunately, we cannot give details because it's also part of investigation. But what we can indicate at this stage is that she opened a case of fraud against an individual that is alleged to be maybe one of the masterminds in these issues. But as we safely indicate now, we cannot indicate or confirm anything at this stage because we are still investigating. As soon as we have finalized and collected enough evidence, then we will know who is the person that is supposed to be held responsible, or if there's any individual that is supposed to be held responsible for this matter.
Okay, so there's two separate dockets. Each of those have been opened by different, as you mentioned. The one is by Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, and the other one is by her stepsister. So you're investigating both of those at the moment. And are you? You mentioned their collaboration with international relations. So I imagine this requires collaboration with Ukrainian or Russian officials.
It requires collaboration with all of them, Mandy, including all international relations. And we're working with them through our government departments like DERCO that are supposed to assist in this matter. So for us to be able to be successful in this matter, we need to involve all of them and all the government departments that are relevant, including your Home Affairs, Interpol, Intelligence, and all of those. So all the departments that play a specific role within this mandate are going to be contacted, and others have already been contacted for assistance.
Brigadier, thank you very much. Brigadier Nomtandazo Mbambo, Hawks spokesperson, speaking to us there. What a bizarre story. So now Duduzile Zuma Sambudla has opened a docket as well against what seems to be the mastermind, potentially, because as it's being portrayed at the moment, she is the mastermind. If you read that article where some of those 18 men who were sent for what they believed was bodyguard training, they're now on the front lines of the war between Russia and Ukraine. They are pleading to be reunited with their families. They are blaming Duduzile Zuma Sambudla and two others for misleading them into signing contracts compelling them to fight in the war. They've been separated into two groups. They've got no idea how their compatriots are surviving at the moment. And now there's a Mandela involved. So Andile Mandela, grandson of Nelson Mandela, is apparently back in South Africa after going to Ukraine with these men. The story is so weird. It is such an odd story. But at the moment, you have 18 people that are stuck in Ukraine who are being compelled to fight in a war, and that Hawks investigation currently underway.
702. 702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, let's go to the courts now in KZN, and two men appearing in court today in that AKA Tibbs murder case. So Siyabonga Malusi and Demande. Siyabonga and Malusi and Demande, the two brothers who have been implicated, made their second court appearance since they were extradited from Eswatini last week. Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter in court. Nhlanhla, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Tell us about this court appearance.
Afternoon, Mandy. A very short appearance in the Durban Magistrates Court of the Demande brothers appearing before court. As you rightly mentioned, that it was their second court appearance. You'd recall that they were extradited from Swatini to South Africa by the South African government. So that's why their lawyers today told the court that they will not be able to proceed with this case until they are finished with all the documentation that was used in the extradition process. Remember, the South African authorities had first applied to the Eswatini authorities to have them being handed over back to South Africa, but this was met by a challenge from both the pair. The lawyers, advocates in PMLO, and Lamina, the same ones who represented them even in Eswatini. So they are fully aware of whatever consultations they may have had that side, but they say the only thing that they don't have sight of is how the South African government put in their extradition process. They want to be in a better position to can challenge it as time goes, Mandy. But another thing that I took note of is how their demeanor was in court. They seem not to be bothered. I mean, the court orderly, warrant officer, had to order them, call them to order as they were coming up the stairs because they were having their chat, laughing as though they were, in a comedy show, Mandy. I've never seen, such arrogance displayed in court by people accused of a high-profile matter who they were completely in disregard, Mandy, of the proceedings as if they were somewhere else. And just behind them sat AKA's mother, Lynn Forbes, who was trying so hard to hold her tears. You can see her, you could see her taking her deep breath, and you could still tell that 2 years later she's still, hurt by her son's passing. But she said so she was not in court for closure. She says she was there for both Tibbs and AKA, and Mandy, the matter has been postponed to January to allow for the defense to be able to formally write to the state to request that proper documentation, Mandy.
And Nhlanhla, you mentioned Lynn Forbes. You had a conversation with her. She's been speaking about the prosecuting team. Tell us about what she's had to say.
Mandy, although she did not do media interviews, because initially we had agreed with her that we'll speak with her after court, but after court she said she doesn't want to break out in front of cameras. But before proceedings started, she was speaking with Advocate Lawrence Taba, the senior state prosecutor, who's also the deputy of the NDPP here in KwaZulu-Natal. She basically says that she sees their efforts, and I think this is based on the investigation or the update that she's getting from the PKTT. You'd recall that this particular case was assigned to the Political Killings Task Team, who's been briefing her about the proceedings. These two prosecutors, Elvis and Advocate Taba, are working on several other cases. You'd recall these are the same guys in the Sindiswa Magaka case. So she was basically saying to these team of highly experienced investigators and prosecutors that she really appreciates the work that they are doing in her son's case. Maybe she went as far as saying that she can't imagine the hours they are putting in this case and that she doesn't envy any of them. But you could sense that sense of gratitude when she was saying it to the lawyers. She was not saying it for the sake of saying it. You could actually see it in her eyes, teary as she was looking at the advocate. And the advocate vowed that, the state will deliver the best of a possible case it can.
Nhlanhla, thank you very much. Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter. Good to hear a relative giving that kind of praise to prosecutors where it is due, and speaking about the risk that they're taking and the pressure that they're under as well. Pretty rare that, but progress being made, that extradition taking place in the AKA Tibbs murder case.
Click season is different from any other ho. Oh, yes, here's why. Mix and match any 3 festive gifts with a purple sticker.
Oh.
And get the lowest one free.
Oh.
With the famous Clicks Purple Sticker promotion. It's O. Only at Clicks. Feel good, pay less. Deals valid until 24 December or while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Holidays are about sparkling pools, sizzling braais, and unforgettable family moments. Enjoy your holiday with the Chamberlain Superb Holiday Savings Promotion from the 20th of November to the 4th of January. Get free pool water testing, renovate your rooms with 10% off paint mixing, and find great gifts for the whole family. And don't forget our range of nice wear clothing, stylish, durable, ready for every outdoor adventure. With expert advice and superb prices, Chamberlain has everything you need for a holiday to remember. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
You know what success looks like. Now discover why focus is the driving force behind every success story. Catch 702 in conversation with Momentum on The Money Show with Stephen Krutters every Thursday, discussing the science of success. Step into the mindset of top financial achievers and discover how your thinking, behavior, and focus can shape lasting financial success. That's 702 in conversation with Momentum. Thursdays on The Money Show with Stephen Krutters. Momentum, your journey to success on 702. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Yo, Mandy, if you know the soapy, or I don't know what they call it, Mobango, that's South Africa for you. We are never without drama. Like the story, the Zuma story, it's almost unbelievable.
Hi, Mandy and the team. My question is with regard to the financial audit of the SAPS. Is she in Parliament to justify the expenditure, or she is in Parliament to clear some irregularities in the expenditure? If she is in Parliament to justify the expenditure, then what criteria did she use, or a performance appraisal? David.
Thank you very much for those WhatsApp voice notes. Well, we are an episode of Muvango, guys. This MK story is so weird. I don't know why I still get so surprised by these weird stories that happen in South Africa, but it's just strange. Like you think you read something like this and it's made up, but it's actually real. It does feel like we are a bit of an episode of Muvango.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
The annual judiciary report is out. It looks at how the judiciary accounts to South Africans and the performance of its judicial functions. So the performance of the judiciary is such a hard word to say. The judges of the country coming into focus today with the release of the annual judiciary report. EWN reporter has been unpacking that. And of course, the Chief Justice Mandisa Maya painting a picture of how the courts fared in serving the people, where the failures and challenges may have been recorded. Khomotso, take us through some of the findings.
Well, Mandy, the annual judiciary report is out.
See, you can say it better than me, judiciary.
And so this is a report that comes out annually, and it's the first one that Chief Justice Mandisa Maya has delivered in her position as Chief Justice of the country. And I think an important theme that we saw, and a part of the report that I think is important to highlight, is the part that deals with reserved judgments. Now, you may know that particularly the Apex Court, the Constitutional Court, struggles a lot with delivering judgments on time. And the recent reports, both 2023 and 2024, as well as 2024 and 2025, show that the Constitutional Court is still the poorest performing in delivering judgments within the prescribed period of 3 months. They are sitting at about or only 13% of their judgments were reported or delivered within that 3-month period, which is really concerning, even though it's a significant increase from just 8% in the previous financial year. The best performing court is the Supreme Court, where they are managing to deliver their judgments on time.
Supreme Court of Appeal.
The Supreme Court of Appeals. They're delivering their judgments on time within the 3-month period. And we heard from Chief Justice Maya just speaking about how the matters that are before the Apex Court are rather complex, but also high profile in nature. And they require sometimes the entire bench to apply itself. But I do think it's concerning when only 6 out of the 26 superior courts are meeting that target. That means there's a challenge that the judges are experiencing, particularly with civil matters. It's no different with criminal matters. While it does look a little better with criminal matters, we're hearing that the judges and magistrates are detailing how many of the cases that have been dealt with over the last couple of months, last couple of years, have been complex because there are a lot more people involved in the crimes that are committed. An example of this is that Rosettenville cash and transit matter that's been in the courts for how many years now, Manny? I think it's about 3-4 years, and that's because there are about 7 accused in that matter. And those are some of the challenges that are being highlighted by Mandy Samaya, saying that she understands that the longer the courts take to address the matters before them, it really does affect the confidence of South Africans in the judiciary and in the courts. And I think it's an important theme to highlight, particularly because we always speak about how justice delayed is essentially justice denied.
Thank you so much, Khamotso. Important there. The annual report reflecting on the performance of the judiciary being released today.
Enjoy a summer of extras with free gifts from Vodacom on all summer deals. Like the Huawei Pura 80 Pro for just $889 over 36 months on a 3 gig Red Core plan. And get the Huawei Watch Fit 4 with $2,999 on us. Plus, enjoy sizzling hot extras with 5 gigs YouTube data and 2 months free YouTube Premium. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a work commuter. She's done this route 1,000 times. Perhaps she's daydreaming of a different job or just counting down to the weekend. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just another car in traffic. It's anticipation on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
One of the most important gatherings in SA's local government calendar is here. The 2025 SALGA National Members Assembly. 25 to 27 November at the Durban ICC. Catch the Clement Manyathela Show live from the National Members Assembly this Wednesday as we take you inside the conversations shaping the future of our municipalities. Don't miss all the expert insights, high-level discussions, and the voices of leaders committed to delivering better services to communities across the country. That's the Clement Manyathela Show, live from the 2025 SALGA National Members Assembly, this Wednesday on 702.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:57 on the Midday Report. So to wrap up the show, the Gauteng Premier, Panyaza Lesufi, has been holding a media briefing reflecting on the G20 Leaders Summit over the past weekend. Tabiso Goba joining us in studio to bring us the latest on that. Tabiso, thanks for coming in. What has Panyaza Lesufi been saying about the G20, the legacy, also an update on how many arrests there were?
Yes, good afternoon, Mandy. I mean, obviously, we have to start with the fact that the Gauteng government has said that, the G20 summit was a resounding success. But obviously, this is obviously something that's shared by also other world leaders that attended the summit. Now, obviously, it was a summit that wasn't without incident. There were a number of incidents that happened. What we were told is that there were a total of 14 reported cases to the police with 13 people arrested. We'll know, obviously, there were 2 people from Operation Tutula that were arrested, but there was also 4 men that were arrested for pickpocketing and robbing Vietnamese delegates here in Sandton. There was also an issue of some unlicensed firearms that were found in hotels where some of the delegates were staying. As I said, 13 people in total that were arrested. But in terms of...
Do we know anything else about that? Unlicensed firearms with delegates?
No. Unfortunately, we couldn't get much detail. But in terms of the people that were arrested, we do know, obviously, they're going to be starting to appear in court. So as soon as they appear, we'll obviously get a bit more details in terms of the charges. We do know, obviously, now that the Gauteng government is still sort of reconciling, but the economic impact in terms of the economic injection is projected to be around 1 to 3 billion rand. But that will obviously be sort of revealed over the next couple of days when they speak with the hotel, the travel agencies, just find out how that will happen. But obviously, I think the biggest question for Gauteng residents is, all this that we saw, the cleaning of the street lights, the cleaning of the streets, and the police visibility. Will this be sustained post the G20? This is what the Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi had to say about that.
It's job well done, but we said to them we are continuing. Because South Africans feel that if we can stop, it will send a very wrong message that we have this visible law enforcement agencies for international guests, not for South Africans. So if we can continue with that, South Africans will appreciate the work that we are doing. And that is why we are now punching numbers with the Provincial Commissioner, because a lot of overtime, a lot of cars needed, a lot of support needed. So we said to the Provincial Commissioner, we want to continue with the visibility of the police. The mere fact somebody steals a cell phone in a checker store, within 4 hours we arrest those people using CCTV face recognition. It's a demonstration that we can enforce law enforcement in our province. So we want to continue with that and work around that.
Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi speaking there about the legacy of the G20.
The Midday Report.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. Don't forget, tomorrow, Kat Matlala is going to be before the ad hoc committee. We'll be sure to bring you all of that live. It's 1 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Collins Letsoalo, a no-show in Parliament again today, and case against 2 suspects in AKA murder case postponed to next year. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Former Road Accident Fund Chief Executive Officer Collins Letsoalo has failed to show up in Parliament again today to answer to a financial